Kick off your boots and put down your hunting knife. It's time for the Outdoor Man Podcast with the man himself, Outdoor Man Dan. Join us for fun stories, useful how-tos, and insights into what being an outdoorsman means today and what it may mean in the future. From ethical hunting and conservation to new stories to tell around the fire. Let's get into today's show with your host, Outdoor Man Dan.
So yeah, round two, Dan Brown, fly fishing. If you haven't seen Dan on TikTok, time flies. He's on YouTube, Instagram, doing all the good stuff. Thanks for coming on, mate, for the second time within a week because I'm a bloody idiot.
All right.
But we'll get there eventually. So, who are you? Where you come from? What do you do?
Hi, thanks for having me on the show. So I'm Dan, as everyone knows me as I'm Dan, from Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Fly fishing, competitive fly tire, competitive fly fishing. Target is to qualify in the Scotland team and get my first Scotland cap. And yeah, that's probably a little bit about me to start with.
So, we'll start with the competition fishing. So you said you want to get your cap and everything else. Explain it more to me probably than everyone else because I'm ignorant to it all.
So the competition fishing is a qualifier knockout stage, where you go to different heats and different venues, so you can apply to go to whatever venue you want to go to. So you recommend you fish through your club, and then your top three of each club go through to the Scottish clubs for the 3-man team, and then you can also fish as an individual for your club. Basically, you have to place in the top 18 to go through of each heat. So you start off with like your prelim, and then your prelims. So not face safe. For instance, I went on Lake Menteith. I'd be fishing with a random boat partner, and you go out and he marks your scorecard and I mark his. We both fish all day. We kill your first 2 fish, then after that it's a numbers game. It's all about numbers. You want fish to the boat. So the more fish you get, the better. You need, most times on Scottish qualifiers these days, you need anything over 14 fish to qualify. Some days you can be less depending on the conditions, but or for instance, if you're on Loch Leven, it's the hardest place to fish in Scotland. It is a Scottish heat venue, and 1 fish will get you through pretty much there. Yes, it's all about numbers. So you qualify top 18 to top 20. You go through in your first heat. Then after that, you go to a semi-final. You fish your semi-final again, top 18, and then everyone goes. All the qualifiers from each heat go to the final, and it's the top 18 qualify for the Scotland team. 2 get a carry. There's normally a 1 or 2 places get a carry from the year before. It's a hard game. It's hard going. It's proper competitive. When you guys are out practicing, etc., no one tells anybody anything. It's hush hush. It's like you'll see people they'll tie up casts, and as soon as they're out in the water, they take the cast off and change their lines. The guys have got that serious now that they dye their lines so no one knows what they're on. There's so many tricks and tips that the guys do. I know certain teams that are out in the competitions that they wear certain, say for instance, they've got an orange hat on, but there's 4 of them out there, they'll all have orange hats on. That could mean that they're on floating line with, say, I know teams that do this, so you've got they'll all be wearing orange hats. That means that they've got floating line on, and then box one, they could have a wee mini box, and normally has 15 patterns in it that they've been practicing that have worked, or they might have a blue hat on, or something like that, and it means that they're down. It's just all different signals and stuff. It's just tips and tricks of what clubs do and what teams do. But it is very competitive and it is hard going. But I like it. I fish. I think I fish better when I'm more at higher level. When I'm fishing with somebody that's better than me on the boat, I'm not there. I didn't care about what he's doing. I'm just there to fish myself. But when it comes to the competitions, I take it pretty serious. I do like it.
Sounds proper cutthroat. I didn't realise how cutthroat it actually was.
To mind my French, but when you get to that kind of level, there's people say I speak to the boys all the time, and the amount of bitching guys at the fishing are worse than women. It's that bad.
I think when it comes to that, I think it's like that all over the sports. I mean, like, I know shooting's just as bad. I mean, I speak to some guys who do like clay shooting and stuff, and you just think, Jesus Christ, I thought we were here to have fun, let alone you know, but they're just proper, just driven for it. And then, like you said, then comes the bitching and
you think you know who your mates are when you go to the competitions, and then you'll get told one thing and somebody will say something else, and then you'll come off and you're like, oh, you go in this method and do that, and then they come in and they've fished a completely different method because they just try and blab you with shite just to basically. It's quite really competitive.
Yeah, that's mental. That's really actually blown my mind. So how did you get into the fishing? Where did it all start for you?
So I started when I was really young. My dad used to take me fishing. I remember when before I even touched a rod, my dad used to take me fishing just to get an excuse to go to the house with my mum. So they had to take me out. I remember he used to take me in the pram, and he'd fish the river, the Esk, and just outside Musselburgh and Dalkeith, etc. He used to take me down the Esk, and he'd be fishing on the bank and just outside on the river wading, and I'd be on the bank. Then when I got to like the age of where I started being able to fish, my dad bought me my first rod. I think it was like a 9 little 9 foot rod. And then I started fishing, and I picked it up pretty quick. My dad used to tie his own flies. That like fascinated me. I was I just loved how he used to make these buzzers. Buzzers. My dad only really fishes buzzers and boobies, and other small nymphs, but mainly buzzers. And I've kind of just took that on, and I fish buzzers pretty much now myself all year. I prefer the tie buzzers. So from there, from a young age, started on the river, on the River Tweed in Scotland. I don't know what the competitions, on like youth competitions on the rivers, done real well, won quite a few trophies. My dad was competitive at the time, again won loads of cups and trophies, etc. I think it was just that it was good. I just liked being out in the wild and just the peace and quiet, and I just didn't really enjoy it because you never knew what you were going to catch. And I think it was like at the time when I started fishing, I wanted to be the best. Just kept on competitive, and then it's just been there. Now I'm 34 and I'm here fishing at the highest level I can get at the Scottish level.
Have you wanted to do any other fishing apart from the flies?
Nah, fly fishing is my top priority. I have caught, like we've spoken before, I have caught carp and pike on the fly. I don't target them, but I have caught them on the fly. I've done sea fishing, but
you can't not see fish living close.
Yeah. So I mean, I travel with work, so I do take the fly rod normally, and I just have a cast off the beach or something, or off the piers. Because I'll do a lot of stuff with like West Coast or Skye, etc. With being a chef, I travel over UK, but fly fishing's my main goal.
Thing. What's just going off my questions here, because you mentioned about going all over the place taking over. Where's the best place you've fished, or the nicest place you've fished?
Nicest place I've fished.
Because you must have been to some place where you think, fucking hell, I'd never have fished this.
I fished, I was working in Skye, and I got told about this fishery, and now in Skye there's loads of hillocks, loads of wild brown trout fishing. I remember I went fishing in Skye, and I had to climb up this like mountain to get to this hillock that was maybe like 3 miles up this hill. And I remember getting up to the top, and the guy says, when you get up to the top, you have to cross like marshlands and stuff. And when I got there, I thought the guy was talking rubbish because I couldn't see anything up at the top, but it just looked flat. Kept going like for miles, and then here it was this hidden lock in this dip. It's absolutely stunning, beautiful. Wild brown trout up to like 3-4 pound, absolutely beautiful, golden brown. Probably the best fish I think I've ever caught in hillocks was on Skye. Obviously I fished Rutland is the best down in England.
Well, it's English, isn't it?
It's English, so it's hi. So Rutland's a great war. Lake of Menteith up there. Glencore's if I was to pick a boat venue in Scotland, Glencore's would be number one priority where I'd go.
Yeah. Fly time. So I'm going to change the question because you actually answered that question on why you tie your flies. If you do it on TikTok, how did that come about?
So through lockdown, obviously the guys that I fish with and tie with, we were doing like nomination challenges where we would nominate somebody to go live on Facebook and tie in, and it's all started from there through lockdown. But then I post a lot of videos on Facebook and a lot of stuff on Instagram. But then TikTok came out, and then I kind of started using TikTok more. So I thought about, there was at the time when I started it, there wasn't many people doing live videos or showcasing tying videos. So I jumped on the bandwagon, and here I am now, just about hit 5,000 followers on TikTok. Only been on it for about 3 months, so it's going in the right direction. And basically, I only do it just to share tips and tricks and patterns that I use myself. I've got a lot of good customers that buy flies from me, so I like to show them how their flies are getting made. And that's how it is. And it's now become part of my daily routine that I just go live for maybe an hour and a half each day. Sometimes I don't get on just with work, etc., and just life, but the whole point of the channel is just to help younger and even older guys basics or learn something new every day.
Yeah, I haven't got the patience for it. It's not. I just order them.
Aye.
But do you enjoy doing the lives?
Yeah. It's sometimes like I won't lie. Sometimes it is. It's like when you're at work and you're like, I can't be arsed, but you need to do it. And I feel like if I don't do it, because I've got the audience and I get people messaging me every day, like saying, "Are you going live? Are you going live?" And I feel if you don't do it, it's like Instagram. If you don't constantly post in, your followers drop. It's the same with TikTok. You got to be kept on there, posting, going live, interacting with the customers, interacting with your fans, etc. Yeah, so I do try and go on every couple of days. I would say when I do go on, I go on because I get kind of, when I start chatting on the channel, I kind of forget and I'm been on for a couple of hours.
And you're still on your first fly.
Nah, yes, I actually tie, I do tie quite a lot of flies when I'm on live. I do, I mean, normally when I'm going on, I'm tying orders that I've got currently on, so I'm not wasting time.
Yeah.
But I do get a lot of guys coming asking me if I can tie flies, certain patterns, and then I do stop to try and do it if I've got stuff kicking about. But yeah, that's how TikTok came about.
Yeah, it's one thing I'm new to. Have you tried Twitch?
I have got a Twitch account.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet. I still yet to master TikTok.
Yeah, I've got a Twitch account, but to be honest, my Twitch accounts, my mates all stream and they're gamers. That Twitch is mere for that.
Yeah.
But TikTok is the new Facebook, and it seems to be the way forward going forward.
Yeah. Everyone seems to be on it.
Yeah.
Apart from me, I had one video up and it got banned. So they got threatened by the TikTok police. So we would say flying ties. Obviously, is there anything you can't tie or don't like tying?
I don't like tying lures. I hate tying lures, to be honest. I didn't really fish them. I like the smaller patterns, my nymphs, my buzzers, boobies, fabs, blobs, etc. But I mainly like tying buzzers. Buzzers is what I like tying. I could sit and tie 1,000 buzzers, no problem. But if somebody was saying to me, "Can you go and tie me 10 yellow dancers?" The 40 day and 10 yellow dancers is like no chance. I'd rather just say, I can't, I'm not at the time, or give the order to somebody else, because I didn't like tying them. But I do them, but I just, it's just, I can't be arsed tying them, to be honest. It's not for me. I didn't fish them in a comp, so I didn't see the point in tying them.
Is there any flies you haven't but done and want to try? Is one of the things that you just
No, I've pretty much tried to tie most flies. But when you get to the comp scene, the guys, look, we're all using the same kind of patterns. It's just tweaked with a different colour here, a different colour there. So we're all, most of the guys that do tie, we're all tying the same patterns, but just tweaked different ways.
So you said, like, I know the answer. I also know the answer anyway, because it's the second time around doing this. But about species, you said you've done carp, pipe on the fly. Obviously, your favourite species is trout, rainbow, and brown. Is there any species you want to chase and you haven't done?
I like to catch an Arctic char on the fly. There is a few places in Scotland that got them or did have them, but they're quite hard. I'd like to go to Iceland to obviously try and fish for them. But I really mainly just target rainbows, browns. I think when obviously I started on the rivers back when I was a youth, I feel that I did catch a lot of bigger fish when I was younger. And I've not really fished the rivers to be honest lately. But I'd like to try and go and catch a new personal best within the river. I think probably go back to hitting the rivers more and trying to hit a personal best.
Salmon and sea trout's the one for me at the moment. That's that and pike. I think they're a big hard on for pike at the moment. That seems to be what I'm going to change. But I've got set up now for the fly rod to catch them. I'll probably spin for them, to be honest. I'll probably wait till the summer again. I've got some little frog lures and I'll just spin for them off the paddle board. I've got a bit Aberdeen way on some locks up there with the paddle board and a bit of a jigging session, as it were.
Yeah.
So favourite memories. I know we spoke briefly about this before, and now you've had time to think about it even more. Have you got any that really stand out?
The biggest one is what we've already spoke about before with my dad on the river. It's probably the funniest. I think the one that comes brought up quite a lot with me fishing on the Tweed. Young wasn't allowed to wade because it was too deep. My dad wading down the river. He's hooked into a fish, and I've hooked a duck at the same time, and it's flying about, and I'm young, and the rod's going everywhere. And here's my dad trying to help come back onto the bank and slipped, and it's getting dragged down the river with his fish jumping about the water, trying to keep the fish on. And here's me with his duck flying about everywhere. I think that's probably the most memorising memory that gets brought up quite a lot that I could think of. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I remember this. We were fishing on Loch Lomond. Sure it's Loch Lomond. Was it Loch Ness? Loch Ness is the one with the big river, eh?
You're Scottish. You should know this.
I know. I can't remember. I was young. I'm sure it's Loch Ness. We were fishing for brown trout on Loch Ness, and the boat broke down. And we got swept for miles back downstream.
Oh, man.
I remember that. It was an absolute nightmare. That was me and my dad pissing with rain. It was mental. Weather was mental. Broken down, dragged for miles downstream.
Sense of humour gone.
Aye. So it was. I think the one from the river with my dad falling in. My dad's fell in a few times, to be honest, trying to help me. But I think that's about it.
The talking of rivers, so the state of our rivers at the moment are in turbo, really, with the pollution, trees, the lot. You haven't got to go very far to find something wrong with the river.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the state of the rivers?
The rivers are obviously, I think, I don't really know much about like the Clyde or etc. like that, or the Tweed, I believe, are really fine. I believe it's just a lot of the smaller waters, the ones that run into like the Tweed or into the estuaries or etc. Like the Esk is absolutely polluted. I don't even know what it is. It's like a green gunge that floats for miles all the way down the water. Fish being found on the banks dead. Obviously pollution's getting really bad nowadays, population in the world, etc. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what the right answer or the wrong answer is for this question, but something needs to be done about it.
Yeah, I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. I mean, I said before, and I've said it on the show before, that I think we should have all the ditches should be dug out more, and then things would filter through better, and then a few trees cut back here and there. I know we've got like beavers being reintroduced, and I don't know if that's going to. I can't see it helping, but I'm not sure it's going to hinder as well. Especially like salmon running and stuff like that. Yeah. If you can find a wild salmon, that is.
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's the right or wrong answer or what the solution is, but it's not healthy at the moment. So we touched a little bit on your cooking early on, or chefing. I've just really sort of just degraded there, haven't I? With chefing. I managed to like you work at McDonald's there for a second. So coming up cooking fish is something that I sort of boil everything when it comes to fish. I'm a bit of a heathen. How do you go around doing all your? How do you go around doing this? How do you cook fish? Or what's your favourite thing to do with
Fish. There's so many different ways you can cook fish nowadays, but I think the best way for me would be pan fried, really slow, caked in butter, get the skin nice and crispy. The trick is with a non-stick pan, a little bit of oil, fish in, skin side down, score the skin, which helps the skin, keeps the fish flat. So when the fish is flat and you score it and you put the fish into the hot pan, cook it on a low and slow heat. And then you'll notice on the skin, you'll get the skin, and then you get this white layer that comes above the skin. Once that white layer is just before this above the skin, it starts going to golden brown. Then you can that the fish is 3/4 cooked. Then you flip it, and you should become a nice golden crispy skin. Then chefs love butter. We love butter.
standard butter?
Just standard salted butter. Cake it with butter, and what we do is we keep it on a high heat with the butter, and what we call it is we foam the butter on a high heat, and we use a spoon and we frothing it like you do with like coffee, frothing the milk. But we do it with butter, so we foam in the butter, and what this does is it doesn't burn the butter; it turns it like a burn rosette, so you get that hazelnutty butternut taste through the fish. Finish with a good squeeze of lemon juice in there, salt and pepper. Oh, it's delicious. I think that's the best way to cook fish. Smoked fish, great again, hot smoking. I do a lot of smoked trout. We went to smoked trout in restaurants now, then smoked salmon, because obviously salmon is the farming, etc. It's a joke. And then, to be honest, if you've seen the fish farms, the salmon farms with people who have seen them, you wouldn't want to eat the fish.
No.
So nowadays, a lot of restaurants now have went away from salmon, and we use trout, smoked trout. If I gave you smoked salmon and a bit of smoked trout, you wouldn't even know the difference, other than knowing it came out of what packet if I told you. But if I was to give you to a customer and told you it was salmon on the menu, but I gave you trout, you would never know.
Do you lose the dirty taste? Because I sometimes with trout, I find it's got a bit of a muddy taste to it.
I've never really thought about that. I know when you eat pike, it's really dirty and muddy because it's a ground bottom fish feeding. Obviously they're predator fish, but they do live down deep in the water, in the mud. But not for trout. The only way I could think of doing that is you can salt your fish overnight. So a brine they call it. So it's 50% water, 50% salt. And what you do is we do it more for meat, but you can do it with fish, more for like cod, etc.
Yeah.
But you can do it with trout. So basically, you leave it in there you don't leave it in overnight. You can leave meat in there for a good couple of hours, but for fish, maximum half an hour.
Right.
You put your fish in there, and it kills anything on there, and then it helps with cooking it. It also cures it a little bit too.
So when I'd done my spearfishing course with the Frenchman down in Plymouth, we were talking about like foraging for food as much as the spearfishing. So like mussels, scallops, that sort of thing. And I said, we talk about taste, and he said, and it's something that sort of stuck with me, and it's something that you said about the pike. If it feeds on the bottom, it tastes like the bottom.
Yeah.
And I thought, it's funny you should mention it without even, being sort of not prompted, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting, sort of food for thought, as it were. Mate, thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome.
I think it's probably longer than actually the recording we've done before.
Yeah.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got it right this time. We've got it right. Huh. I haven't fucked it up. It's been a pleasure. If anyone wants to find you, buy flies.
TikTok is the way forward. Dan Brown Fly Fishing. My name's the same all over social media. Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube is Dan Brown Fly Fishing. My Instagram is under my chef account, Soufflequeen91. But if you want to find me, my TikTok is my business page. That's where my shop is.
Yeah. Anything X-rated? It's on OnlyFans. You have to pay for that subscription.
Oh, that's one with Dan's.
You've been listening to the
Thank you, mate.
Outdoor Man
No worries.
Podcast. We're glad you're here. We'd love to connect with you on social media. Find us on Twitter at Podcast Outdoor, on Instagram, Outdoor_Man_podcast, on Facebook, Outdoor Man Podcast, and you can even reach us by email, dan@outdoorman.uk. Let us know your outdoor questions, and be sure to tag us when you're outside living your best life. Until next time, be the example.